quick episode. We're doing a little quick episode here of this of the Put On Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas. You know, this was this weekend was probably one of the worst weekends of Raider football I've seen in a long time. We'll get Ryan was at the game, so he'll be with us later in the week to discuss the Raiders. And he was flabbergasted and disgusted with the performance being at Allegiant Stadium, and I can't blame him for that. But let's just be let's call like it is. And I think that we try to call like it is on this show. We do it, I do it with when I'm on Twitter, in spaces, when I'm doing it on the show, when I'm doing the show for you here. And it's just when AP was gonna be the head coach, I was like, okay, fine. Definitely needs a solid staff around him. Definitely needs a real play caller. Definitely needs somebody who, because he's very inexperienced. He was the rah guy. He was the, smoke your smoke. We're gonna smoke our ish. We're gonna do our talk, and we're gonna do all this other stuff. Because do it the goddamn Raider way, and the Raider way is losing football. They need to find a new way. Hey, when you haven't won in what 20, 30 years or whatever situation is, you can't sit there and tell me about the Raider way. You just can't. It falls on deaf ears, like, because it's not really a way of anything. They have not played well for a long period of time. Not have made back to back playoff appearances. Haven't done anything in a long period of time. So we can't sit there and say that this some Raider way is like a great way of football. Um, the only thing that when AP was about to get hired, the only thing that we asked on this program was like, hey, listen, usually you don't have a bunch of playoff coaches available to talk to, like Vrabel, like Carroll. Don't Belichick's not coming here, but like, you have opportunity to talk to some of these guys, right? Just have a conversation with those guys. And everybody was like, all these Raider fans, all these content creators were like, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Just hire AP. He has the locker room. This, that, and the other. Go ahead and just forget about all those other things and just hire AP. Process. What do you need a process for? What do you need a process for? Forget a process. There's no process. Just hire your guy. You should be able to go hire your guy. Rooney Rule. Come on. What are we talking about here? We have our guy in AP. There are not 32 individuals who are going in this league who are going to be really good NFL head coaches. So you have to really go through the candidates with a fine tooth comb, I guess the old saying is, and you got to try to find your guy, and you have to find a guy who can, yes, motivate, but also know what to do as far as X's and O's, timeouts, when to go for it, and be able to strategize during the week to get ready. I hear Green Bay fans give their head coach all the crap in the world, right? But he's out here winning games with Malik Willis. You know, the Minnesota Vikings. I'm a big Kevin O'Connell, big Kevin O'Connell fan. Goes out there, loses Kirk Cousins, loses JJ McCarthy, out there with Sam Darnold to fight on, and is 3-0 and winning football games. Like, it's hard to decipher which guys have it, but at the end of the day, that's your job as an owner to find out who has the chops. This whole really bad football performance in the first half of football games, it's not just the AP problem. It was a Gruden problem. It was a Josh McDaniels problem. And now it's the AP problem. And you go through all these games and they're doing the same thing. They don't show up. The team does not show up for a full game. Falling in love with candidates, letting players pick head of NFL head coaches. Like that is the Raider way. And that's the wrong way to do things. And they've been doing the wrong things for a long time now. And you have to ask yourself, like, how important, and I've said this before, we said it before, like, how important is winning football games for Mark Davis? He's paid, you know, every little event at Allegiant Stadium goes into his pocket. So how much does winning matter to Mark Davis? Because that stadium is going to make money regardless, whether it's Taylor Swift, whether it's Garth Brooks, whether it's Ice Cube and West Side Connection, whoever they put in there for a concert, they're going to make their money. But can they win football games? You know, are the Las Vegas Aces enough? Like I got the Aces, I'm good. I don't really care. Yeah. I'm still going to try to get Tom Brady part of my team and give ownership to Patriots because that's what the Raider way is. You see a Patriot player, hey, you want equity in my team? Come over here, I got you. You know, surprised he didn't hit up Roddy Harrison yet for some of that as well. They don't have a process of winning. They don't. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to put together a winning formula on the field. When they get free agents, they everybody all every free agent they get just their performance declines with the Raiders. The checks keep coming, but the accountability is just not there. The accountability with John Gruden wasn't there. The accountability with Josh McDaniels, who did the same thing. You know, he threw players under the bus. That's real leadership. To throw players under the bus. And now we're seeing it with AP as well. Throwing players under the bus. Players made business decisions in this game. My first question to him would be, as you step out of your Impala with the sunglasses and the Raider starter jacket on, with that being said, why is your team so ill prepared for 3/4 of football? You play once a week. You play once a week. This isn't baseball where you're playing every day. This is the NBA where you're playing every other day with a couple back to backs. Like, where is the game plan? You know, I mean, Mike Tomlin, he's not a play caller on defense or offense. But when the Steelers lose, you have to beat them because they're sound defensively. They're going to run the football, and they're going to be occasionally aggressive throwing the football down the field with Justin Fields. That's their formula. Their defense is going to keep them in the game. They're going to run it. They're going to play the clock when they have to. I mean, that's what they're going to do. Like, you know, you know what they're going to you know what their identity is. And the Raiders' identity is to not be ready to play. That's their identity, not to be ready to play. That's what they are, a team that will not start playing football until the season is over. Or excuse me, and until the game's over. I mean, that is what they do. And that is an Antonio Pierce issue. Antonio Pierce is the head coach of the team, and the quote unquote everybody says the quote unquote players got him that job. That's not a good thing because the players getting him a job that whether he deserved it or not. I know folks who are just taking time off from the Raiders because they're like, I know he wasn't the guy. But when you are the guy, you sitting there talking to Marvin Lewis on the sidelines. You got Joe Philman on the staff. Like all this stuff, like that doesn't work. It's you. You got to be ready to coach. You got to be ready to get this team ready to play. And it's just, one miracle comeback against when you played 9 minutes of real good football wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And for a guy who is supposed to be a defensive guy, the defense wasn't ready. What is your plan? And this team, what was your plan if we ever got in that situation where Max Crosby wasn't 100%? What's your plan? Because this defense looks like a one-man wrecking crew, and that's it. When Max plays well and Max is 100%, they're going to be tough. Max clearly wasn't 100%. And he's in way he plays. I'm surprised he doesn't get hurt more often, but he wasn't hurt 100%, and then nobody else could pick up the slack. And then you have Patrick Graham rushing for, playing zone, like not being innovative defensively, and a veteran quarterback, and Andy Dalton had 300 yards. Had 300 yards against their defense. I mean, you're the head coach. You're the guy who is stepping out the Impala. You're the guy who is wearing the Air Force Ones. All these things that we talked about, had nothing to do with football, but Raider fans jumped all over. Like flies on shit. The Raiders jumped all over this. Raider fans jumped all over this. The content, the Raiders Twitter to the Twitter page. Oh, everybody tweeted about like, oh my, your head coach would never, your head coach would never, with pictures of AP doing kind of cool things. Well, like if he wants to be a stand-in for Mac 10 on the next West Side Connection tour, they can go ahead and do that. I'm sure he knows all the lyrics. As you know, he's from Compton. I don't even know where Mike Tomlin's from, but I know he wins football games. I don't know what town Kevin O'Connell's from, but he wins football games. I don't know what town Mike Shanahan's from, but he wins football games. This is about winning football games. The signs that say just win baby should just come off until they actually win games. So I don't care if you're listening to whatever Raider content creator you want to listen to make you feel better. It is what it is. I want to circle back to one thing before we go. Me and I can't say I have a crew, but like we have a group of folks who just like are realistic about the Raider fans and ask questions about the Raider process. So when the Raiders had an opportunity to interview some of these other coaches, everybody said, no, 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 don't do it. No, don't do it. They said, oh no, you're not giving a black man a chance, all stuff like that. Whatever. I'm about winning. I don't really care about all that stuff. But a lot of vitriol, a lot of like, I don't want Harbaugh. I don't want this guy. I don't want that guy. I don't want this guy. I just want AP. And all these fans were saying that, right? And as soon as there was trouble in the waters, I'm hearing people, I'm saying these same people like MF, MF, the head coach, and not standing by the head coach. Well, I mean, if you're going to spend the whole offseason telling me how great AP is, you're going to spend the whole time where they had opportunity to maybe talk to other coaches, and you're not going to back AP when trouble comes. Like the minute there's trouble, AP shit. He's garbage. That's interesting. That's interesting. Maybe next time You you really do your homework and you hire a real head coach. You hire an innovative mind like a Ben Johnson, or you go into the ranks and say, "Hey, Mike Vrabel, like, how the hell did you do it? How did you go to a championship game with Ryan Tannehill?" Things like that. Like, you like really, you guys have to have real conversations. This whole I'm going to hone in on one candidate, which is what the Raiders done the last three times they hired a coach. They honed in on Gruden and they got Gruden. How'd that work out? They honed in on, hey, Gruden's gone. I just want Josh McDaniels. I don't care about anybody else. Good job, Mark. I just want Josh McDaniels. Who cares about his losing record? You know, who cares about how he connects with players? Who cares about like how he throws players under the bus? Who cares? I just want Josh McDaniels. How'd that work out? You know what? I'm gonna give the players throw the players a bone. I'm gonna give the players an opportunity to go ahead and pick the coach. How'd that work out? If you're too lazy to have a process, you're too lazy to be the owner of the Raiders. Gotta have a process. Picking head coaches, gotta have a process on how to win games. Gotta have a process to find an identity for your football team. All the teams that are the playoff teams in this league, they have a process and they have an identity. The Raiders have neither. All right, Nation. See you next time. Anxious to talk to Ryan about his experience in that game. And I give, listen, God bless everybody who went to that game on Sunday. It's the Raider way to lose and get blown out by a team that's going to win 3 games this year in Carolina. That's the Raider way.